Now, this podcast is Stay Locked In. This is inspired by a interview that I heard with Stephen Curry, who is a all-star, likely Hall of Famer who plays in the National Basketball Association for the team, the Golden State Warriors. He has really changed the game. He's a deep three-point threat. He's already set records across the board. And he's being interviewed as a 10 plus year veteran in the National Basketball Association, the NBA. He's being interviewed about the post season, about playoffs, which they're in right now. They have a lot of young talent on their team who are itching to get on the court and show what they can do and contribute to the winning ways of that organization. And so the interviewer asked Stephen Curry, they call him Steph, about the young guys and what they can do with all this talent. Are they getting bored? How do you keep them engaged? And his advice was for them to stay locked in. And this interview was coming on the heels of them losing the second game, which is the best 4 out of 7. They lost that game. He's being interviewed about, the young guys being ready and how do you keep them ready? And his advice was they got to stay locked in. And he was like, not giving in to frustration because it's not their night to shine or that their number wasn't called. They may get what's called a DNP, which is did not play. And when you first come into certain organizations or certain places, you may not get a chance to play. I remember talking to a colleague who expressed a lot of frustration that her ideas were not being used, and she spent so much time working on these ideas, and she felt deflated and frustrated, and she was, talking or even threatening of moving on. And this is a great example of what Steph is talking about, of being locked in. And your work is not about whether or not your idea is adopted or whether you get a moment to shine or be acknowledged, or even the outcome of whatever happens with your idea. What is working on yourself every moment as you work on an idea that may or may not come to fruition, that may or may not be realized or used. And I think about that with myself. It's like, if my number isn't called, if my project isn't picked up, if my idea is met with some serious constructive feedback or even some resistance, can I stay locked in on what's most important? And what's most important is for me to stay serving the moment. That is everywhere I go, whether I'm in an organization at the workplace, whether I am with friends or that I'm really close to, or whether it's in my or your home and you're with your family. Just because you want to acknowledge for something that you did, you want to thank for what you do for the family or for the children or your significant other. That is so trivial. It seems important, but it's really trivial. It's important to the personal self, but in the grand scheme of things, what's most important is what you're here for. And that's to serve the moment that's right in front of you to the best of your ability. And I think about that all the time. And the more and more I think about it and try to be aware of it, it is very easy to slip down and become frustrated for missing another moment. And you're like, man, will I ever get this together? I just keep getting bothered by everything, what I'm doing, not being acknowledged. I'm becoming frustrated because I don't feel appreciated. No one's thinking of me or considering my feelings or what I want. It's easy to go down that trap of the personal mind, and it starts to influence how you see the world, how you see the people in your life. You cannot see them objectively if you're looking through the eyes of the personal mind. And so instead of getting frustrated when that awareness shows you that that's what you're doing or that you're trapped in that space, just let that go, because it begins with being aware that it's actually happening, that you're aware of what the mind is doing. And more that awareness will allow you to see the pitch coming in a lot slower. Before you missing those fastballs, but now you're seeing them. And with Stephen Curry playing basketball, before you couldn't see what the defense was doing to you. And now you see it. And if you're sitting on the bench, as some of these young players were, then how can you serve that moment? By not making it about yourself, by being a great teammate on the bench, by cheering for the athletes who are on the court that who are playing, and also supporting them when they're on the sidelines and giving them confidence if they or comforting them if they make a bad play or they miss the shot. The same thing happens in the workplace, acknowledging and thanking the people that whose projects are adopted and asking how you can be supported. And in the home, when you feel like you haven't been considered or that you are not, or that you're an afterthought, to understand that there's a personal mind and let that go and look at what the other person is dealing with and ask, how can I help? How can I lighten your load without any expectation of anything in return? That's how you do it. So again, the title of this podcast is Stay Locked In, and I hope we both will do so.